It's Sunday, March 6, 2022. This is All About Your Benjamins and your weekly mixtape and weekend review video. Hope you had a great week, and probably to no surprise, the headlines that we're going to be hitting on real quick are not that different than the week before had I recorded the video. Had the headlines last week, just didn't have a chance to shoot the video. Here I am back, so let's get to the headlines that may or may not be impacting your financial plan and portfolio. And obviously a lot of it's going to center around Russia and Ukraine. So the markets have had a volatile couple of weeks, and last week was no different. The market had some up days, some down days, which is kind of part of the definition of volatility. One of the things that's always good to remember is, volatility, I think, is a negative word. People, when they hear volatility, I think it goes down, but volatility can be to the upside as well. So this past week we saw up and down days, but the big headline, or one of the big headlines contributing to the market, was seeing oil above $100 a barrel, and I think I saw it as high as $110. I even saw that, I believe it was out in California, which always has historically high gas prices. It was over $5 a gallon for gas, and I think that's the highest it's ever been on average in a state. So obviously that is hitting people's pocketbooks. Inflation has been a hot topic for a while. We're going to hit on that here in a moment, but the gas prices did not help that. So the uncertainty around the war and the concerns there. You had Ukraine asking for a no-fly zone, which was rejected because of the implications of that. I'm by no means a military buff, but from what I've read and heard is that if we were to do the no-fly zone, that would definitely set off World War III and the fear of nuclear becoming a part of what's going on. So not sure how all this plays out, but continuing to watch it and see what we think may need to be done, if anything. But again, as we've talked about numerous times in history, that there's tons of headlines for reasons to sell. As I turn off my Slack, usually the best thing to do is to stay the course. There's a couple blog posts this week in the mixtape that speak to that. Barry Ritholtz has a good one. There's some lessons learned from Colin Roche. So some good things in there to pay attention to just when you think about the landscape of your plan in your portfolio with everything that's going on. I'm starting to get some questions as this lingers on of what should we do? Is there a safe game plan? Ben Carlson has a great one in the mixtape as well, talking about how there's no perfect plan for everything. So build your portfolio around understanding you can't hedge for everything, and pick the things that are most important to hedge against, and understand that usually the best course of action is to stay the course. You hear that from me all the time. Not a whole lot more to go on into the war and how it's impacting the market, but a couple other headlines that tie into inflation. We had a very good month of jobs coming back. Over 678,000 jobs were added in February. So the job market is looking strong on that point. And that in the past has meant that wages have been competitive and going up. And last month, wages did not go up as much. It went up 1 cent on average with inflation. So for a while, the wage growth was able to kind of not cross out or not cancel out the inflation because it wasn't equal to equal, but it was eating into some of that inflation that we were seeing. Now we see inflation continuing to go a little bit higher, and wages are not keeping up. So something to keep on there. And I also just wonder what these headlines do to people's psyche as well. Yes, people are feeling differences in when they go shopping or they go to get gas, but are they really thinking about that, or are they just naturally making adjustments to make things work? But then when they hear these headlines about inflation and they hear these headlines about wages and all these things, then they sort of notice it more and they pay more attention to it, and it makes a bigger deal. Not that it's not something to pay attention to, but sometimes I think that the headlines and the talk about certain things make it a bigger deal to people, where if they're left to their own devices, they would just naturally adjust, because we naturally adjust to change pretty well, and would make adjustments and create a new kind of normalcy and be okay. But when they're told that the inflation's high and they're told that wages aren't going up high enough, it feels a little bit different, I think. There's behavioral psychology, and there's a reason these headlines exist, to pull you in so you watch, you click, you listen, and all those types of things. So we've talked about the media and what their agenda is. Not even agenda from politically, but from a selling, marketing, dollars type of thing and getting your attention. So the unemployment looks good. Unemployment is numbers look good. Unemployment is low. We hit on wages, which was the next one. And then finally, if we don't have enough stuff about inflation, Fed Chairman Powell came out and said that the Ukraine war is creating risk of higher inflation. Again, because of oil and other expenses, but just more talk on inflation. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. The expectations of Fed cutting rates have come down some, as far as the people who are betting on it, if you will, as far as what the futures markets say. So it'd be interesting to see how things continue to pay out. A lot of things are always going to be interesting because we don't know. And I'm not gonna pretend to know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know, I just process things as they come in. But what I do know is, over my 17 years of being an advisor, the older advisors that I have looked up to as mentors and have been in the business longer, reading, best course of action, having a plan, knowing what you want to do, having your portfolio accounted for in that plan, having a globally diversified portfolio, keeping costs low, not making bad decisions, those all go in there. And the thing I want to add to it more is, what will make your plan stronger is if you're building out this plan to weather all these storms, having your passions at the center of that plan. A lot more of that to come, but I just want to tease that here as well. So that is everything from this week's mixtape. Check down this week's week in review. Check the mixtape down below. At the very, very bottom, it is my second mini documentary. We're calling it a short for the Pursuit brand. Last week it was Leo and his drawing. This week it's Roman and his basketball. Next week I'm going to be shooting my wife Angela at her store. Hopefully I have time to edit it for next week. And then the following week we'll try to put something together for Silas, and I will hit the people in my immediate household for my first 4 Pursuit shorts, and then we'll go from there. Can't commit to doing it every week. I would love to, but I don't know if I know enough people to be able to shoot that when it's your household. It's a lot easier. So check out Roman's Young Man and His Ball documentary down below. Really enjoying those. It's pretty cool to shoot the video, go back later and record the conversation, and then piece things together. It takes a while, because sometimes what we said 7 minutes in needs to go in 3 minutes in on the video, but then it's too long. It's like a puzzle. But to me, that's a lot of fun to try to tell this story with these puzzle pieces that don't know they're supposed to go together, and then putting them together. So hope you enjoy those shorts, and I'll let you get to your week. So thanks for tuning in. As always, appreciate you tuning in, your support. Like, share, comment, all those things, and we'll see you all in the next episode.